my weekly show on yoga philosophy. I have been studying and of course we're on passage number 20. Let's get started. And it begins like so. Therefore, the non-intelligent linga becomes as if intelligent on account of its contact with that spirit. And yet the indifferent spirit seems as if it were an agent. All right, so the past 2 weeks, essentially what we've been talking about is proof of the spirit. And I guess it's something that does need to be addressed in any spiritual endeavor. What is this? What is the spirit? Where does it come from? Does it in fact exist? And can we prove it? There's no real solid method to prove that the spirit in fact exists, but Kapila, the author of solid method to prove that the spirit in fact exists, but Kapila, the author of if you go back the past 2 weeks, talks about the proof of the spirit and its qualities. So in Karika 20, we kind of beyond proving the spirit exists, and now start to look at its function. And I think this is super cool. I think I might say this is super cool every single week. But it begins, therefore the non-intelligent linga becomes as if intelligent on account of its contact with that spirit. So this first part of the passage, right, the linga is something that, it's like a vessel that can hold a substance, can hold it can hold something, or like in this case, I guess we'll call it, but that might be a little bit confusing. Essentially, it is something that can hold the spirit. Okay. So what ends up happening here is that we ourselves become imbued with the power of the spirit. Now, how does this happen, right? How does this happen, and what are its effects? And that's what I really want to get into today. So the first thing is, like, how does it happen? And there's no doubt that the intellect and the ego have to become willing and have the capacity for deep belief in, maybe the presence of God, the kindness to nature, or the ability to recognize, identify the spirit. And really, if you think about it, like, this is kind of the definition of the primary quality, the primary initial practice of the person who's seeking the spiritual path. You can't, right? You can't just simply say, I'm a person who is spiritual. But if you're not putting anything to practice, then obviously you're not, like, on the path. Now, of course, you can sit back. My mind works this way often. We can sit back and observe those who, deal in these spiritual or, religious. I don't want to mix the two up too much, but practices. And when we observe that, then it becomes my dog rumbling down the steps. Then it becomes, it's something detached from the actual act of spirituality. Okay, so this becomes intelligent on account of contact with the spirit. So the word that's oftentimes used in the practice of yoga, this idea of awakening oneself, right? We first become aware of, this idea of the spirit, and then we might start practicing, some type of spiritual practice, so heightened spiritual experience. Now, what are its effects, right? What are the effects of the spiritual practice? And this is awesome, right? Because we become awakened, right? And this is where, right, the non-intelligent linga becomes as if intelligent on account of the contact with the spirit. And I'll continue the rest of the passage. And although the activity belongs to the attributes, yet the indifferent spirit seems as if it were an agent. So we end up, again, becoming imbued with the quality of the spirit after having prepared the vessel, which is ourselves. We, again, we believe that the spirit exists. We become awakened to the idea of the spirit. And it's this wakefulness that I feel as though is so important to address. On the lower reality, this kind of lower reality in which we operate, we are now witness to our own behaviors, our own reactions to circumstances and experiences around us, right? We have, something in, kind of a contentious topic. And I believe even all philosophy on that road. So on a very subtle level, right, we gain more control over our actions, and therefore free will, at least to some degree, is expressed. So this intelligence that is kind of, again, imbued within us, but as we kind of prepare that container, the wisdom or intelligence, right, that comes along with it is now awakened in every single one of our thoughts and actions. It's really kind of like a beautiful process, how things, kind of gradually unfold. So again, the very first step as we prepare the container, not that I can, kind of cover it all, but there are certain ethics that need to be practiced in preparation for that container to be wide enough, big enough, strong enough to hold the spirit. Right? And they are things, again, if we look at the yamas and niyamas, or in Vedanta, what are the 6 disciplines, right? Deep faith, cheerfulness, practice of non-excitement. What else is there? I forget. But the other 3 and the rest. So there's all these things that we have to practice on this kind of lower reality, prepare that container for the spirit to Patanjali's yoga. We just remove the darkness, right? We remove the ignorance, and we reveal the spirit that's within us. And then eventually this spirit's intelligence is imbued again into our daily lives. I'm going through, pretty significant life events right now. And I'm so thankful for the practice. It's just a tremendous, and I hate to sound like, I guess a yoga teacher, but I guess I like to consider myself one. As difficult as those moments are, and at varying times, right? The feelings of this transition in my life are so overwhelming. They're hard to overcome. And I see them, I witness them, and I might not be able to do anything about them in the moment. But there are those times when maybe its intensity of those feelings is not so, so severe that I have the ability to kind of step back, witness, and adjust my behavior so that I know that the actions I'm going to take are the purest actions I could possibly take. Because it can be very difficult to do so. Well, anyway, I hope you'll join me for some pranayama. All right. So sit up nice and tall, and as always, If you have any difficulties with breathing throughout this practice, we're only doing 5 breaths, nothing severe. We're going to do a little bit of Qigong today. All right? So it basically involves, let me see if I can capture a little bit more here. We've got interlaced fingers here. My palms are going to be face up in my lap. I'm going to be inhaling. The arms rise, the hands flip upwards. And then as I exhale, I'm just exhaling out and down and returning the interlaced fingers. A nice little shoulder stretch as well. So again, prepare yourself by sitting up nice and tall. You might be sitting on, I'm sitting on a block. Maybe you have a stack of books, or a roll blanket. Ears and shoulders and hips all aligned. If you'd like, close your eyes. Interlaced fingers in your lap. First, just take an inhale. And an exhale. Now begin your inhale. Reach the palms face up. Flip your hands up and overhead as you fully inhale. And then exhale. Arms out and down. Again, interlace. Inhaling, up. Exhale, out and down. 3 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And then exhale. Good. Now what you can do is place your hands over your belly. In Qigong, if you are a lady, you're placing the right hand on your belly, left hand on top, just below the navel. Men, left hand on your belly, right hand on top. All right, and we're just going to spend the next few moments in quiet meditation. Right? And maybe the focus of your meditation is the vessel itself, right? The container itself. If there's a particular ethic that you yourself need to work on, maybe you just repeat that word, right? Respect, for instance, right? Courage is another possibility. Honesty, perseverance, kindness, gratitude, right? These are all different examples of ethics that we can practice. And as we practice them more and more, our container becomes stronger and we become more fit to handle any spiritual practice. Choose just one. Maybe just repeat the word over and over in your mind. I'll keep time. It'll take a few moments. Let's exhale. A little chime there, I guess, was a good alert. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and I wish you a good day. And be sure to help yourself and others. By helping yourself, right? Do your own work. It's so important. Peace.